Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of MAGA Headline News. My name is Mike, and today we're going to be doing an election integrity special. Okay. So, yesterday we had some action happening on election integrity. We had number one, Tulsi Gabbard, actually 2 days ago at the cabinet meeting, talking about she's going to be investigating the election fraud that happened in 2020 and that happens all over our country every single election by the left, by the Democrats. And we also have the SAVE Act that passed the House, which that's going to be a game changer for America because we're finally going to have somewhat, I guess, free and fair elections, the best they could get as of right now, because there's still going to be things to be cleaned up after the act is put in place. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to start off with Tulsi at the cabinet meeting and what she said about what she's doing, what she's investigating as far as election integrity. Okay. So let's get right into her. There we go.
I've got a long list of things that we're investigating. We have the best of the best going after this. Election integrity being one of them. We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward your mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith in the integrity of our elections. I've got a long list of things that we're...
Okay. So look, she's telling you she got a long list of things she's investigating. And there is a long list because we all know we followed along 2020 election. We all pay attention to elections now. Okay. And a long list means a long list. Number one, they're going to be investigating these electronic voting machines that a lot of states have. Okay. And what they are doing and manipulating our votes, manipulating our voting systems. They're being hacked by China, being hacked by other countries. And in 2020, there was information, incredible information, that the results were literally sent over into Europe, modified, and then brought back. But no liberal judges wanted to hear it. But now we're going to clean it up. Okay. And that's why the left is going crazy, because they're not going to be able to cheat in the elections anymore. So once they do that, we're going to be able to keep a good eye on what machines were tampered with, get rid of the voting machines altogether, go to watermark ballots. And why do you think they don't want to do it? Why is the left crying? Because they can't cheat anymore. That's just one way they cheat. They have multiple ways they cheat. Okay. They do ballot harvesting and absentee ballots. I watched that happen with my own eyes. What they do is they go around to people they know don't even want to vote, or senior citizens in nursing homes. They walk around and they intimidate these seniors in nursing homes and collect their ballot for them. There's people that are paid $5 a ballot to go collect. They fill out the forms for them, and that, the people, some people, their kids, they don't even tell their kids they're doing it because they know their kids aren't voting. So now one person got 3-4 kids that they're sending in votes for them. Okay. But some of the ballot harvesting scams are huge, millions of votes, hundreds of thousands of votes. Those are all going to get busted up. All right. Then you got the drop boxes. Anybody that watched 10,000 Mules knows exactly what's going on with the drop boxes. That's going to get busted up. All right. And then you got the poll workers. The poll workers that are all hired by the left, hired by the Democrats, that wouldn't even let the observers into the counting rooms. They literally didn't care. The cameras were out there, didn't matter. These people pulled the most outrageous stunts, or when they said the water main broke or the lights are out. I mean, all this stuff coincidentally happens when it's time to count the ballots. There's no reason for it. Why are we still counting ballots 10 days later half the time? This stuff's all going to get cleaned up, and that's why the Democrats are panicking about it. All right? So good job to Tulsi Gabbard. She's going to clean all this up, and we're going to see some results. We're going to see some arrests from this too, because that's treason. Tampering with our elections, treason. All right? And I hope the people that did it all get busted for it. And you know what? I'm probably going to get censored on YouTube, probably get thrown off YouTube. I don't care. I'll stay on Rumble. I'm not going to shut my mouth for anybody. So listen, now after that, we got the bill, the SAVE Act passed, okay? And that's about registration to vote and registering to vote and showing up to change to you have to provide ID that you are a citizen to vote, okay? And all these liberal rags and the Democrats are already crying, saying now it disenfranchises women, married women, okay? They're the married women are going to have to go and change something or do a little bit of extra paperwork, which Caroline Levitt already said that they are making avenues so that it is not hard to do this. Okay. And even if it was, this is voting in your national elections. What is the big deal? We have to do so much. Okay. You need to go down just to go fishing and apply for a permit, to go hunting, apply for a permit. Look what they're saying that it's going to make it hard for them to exercise their constitutional rights. Well, most places make you get a permit. You got to go down there and apply to go to protest. Okay, you need to go through months of God knows what to exercise your Second Amendment rights. Every day, Americans do things that are hard. Okay, my mother's married. She ran 6 corporate offices. You telling me she can't go fill out a couple of pieces of paper? I got another friend's mother that's at past retirement age that's running her own practice, counseling and saving drug addicts that have addiction problems, on top of helping raise all of her grandchildren. You're telling me that she can't go change a few pieces of paper? And I know they would, because they're both patriots, and they would, because they want to vote. The Democrats want this to happen so that their dead people can't show up and walk out of the grave and go down there and get an ID to vote. Or their illegals can't go down there and go get an ID to vote. That's why. So don't tell me that women are incapable, because here's another thing. They're so worried about disenfranchising women. They're so worried about making it so hard on women. But they don't seem to care when they tell women you now have to compete in sports with men. You now have to get punched in your mouth by a man in a boxing ring or a mixed martial arts fight. They don't care that women now have to change in locker rooms and shower with men. They're not worried about any of that. See, this is where it comes into play, that where it's the propaganda, that the Democrats know that their voters are incapable of critical thinking. And in this situation, that means their voters aren't going to think about that. They look at the one topic, they fall for the propaganda. They're not even intelligent enough to think, well, they don't care about women when it comes to all that other stuff. They can't even make the connection, because the sparks in their brain don't even fire. So they just pull whatever's going on. They pull from their victims list, their victimhood list, and they use whatever victim they could find. They don't care one bit about married women having to do a little extra work, possibly, to vote. If this is a procedural change, it's just how it is, okay? We fill out paperwork every day. If you go get a new job, you bring your ID. Then they're saying in another thing, here they going down. If I went down, let me see if I can find it. They're saying Republicans have argued the legislation is needed to safeguard the elections and prevent non-citizens from voting, which data indicates is rare. Really? Because every piece of data we've seen shows that the illegals we have video of them being bussed in, paid to do it, voting how many times. But here's their link that's supposed to prove that it's rare for illegals to vote in our elections. So when I clicked the link, it brought me here to the Associated Press. Go figure. And let's see what the Associated Press's reasons are. Okay. Let's read this here. Only citizens are eligible to vote in this fall's election for president on top of offices. While that's nothing new, the potential for non-citizens to register or vote has been receiving a lot of attention lately, citing the influx of immigrants in recent years at the United States-Mexico border. Republicans have raised concerns about the possibility that non-citizens will be voting, something that has rarely occurred in the past. I mean, in Congress, House Speaker Mike Johnson is seeking to link an extension of federal government spending and authority to a proposal requiring states to obtain proof of citizenship when registering to vote. In various states, GOP officials have launched reviews of voter rolls, issued executive orders, and placed constitutional amendments on state ballots as part of an emphasis on thwarting non-citizen voting. Some Democrats contend the measures could create hurdles for legal voters and are unnecessary and lead people to believe the problem of non-citizen voting is bigger. The problem is we could put all these laws, but they still do it because the states don't require identification. All right. So they're citing this law. A 1996 U.S. law makes it illegal for non-citizens to vote in elections for president or members of Congress. Violators can be fined and imprisoned for up to a year, or they could also be deported. This is what they're claiming makes illegals rare in voting. This is what they're claiming is going to deter illegals from voting. Well, they don't enforce the laws. And even if they did enforce the laws, they wouldn't even find them because it's so easy to vote because you don't need ID to do it. This is all propaganda. It's all propaganda. They rely on you not clicking these links, not reading their sources or information. And then as a second layer of protection for them, even if their voters, their low information, low IQ, low functioning voters did read this stuff, they probably wouldn't understand it anyway. Okay? So they don't care a bit about women having a little bit of hardship to go and fill out paperwork. We do it every day as part of life. Okay? So if you go back to this here, where they I'm not sure if this was the article, okay, but you know what else they're saying? They're saying that it disenfranchises minorities, okay? I'm not sure if this was the article. I'm looking through it here, but you know what? There's three of them, three articles I read. I don't have them up right now, but they're saying it on the news too, that it disenfranchises minorities because minorities in Black America are far less likely to have ID or don't have access to ID. Okay. What I mean, seriously. And then they call other people racist. Just by them saying that is implying that Black Americans are not capable or don't know how to go down and get an ID or paperwork. Okay. Or they're saying that the married women, Hillary Clinton's a married woman. She can't go change her register. She's not capable. You wanted her to be president. Camel Hair Harris, she's another one. She's married. You said she wanted her to be, she's capable of being president, but she can't go change some paperwork. We see minorities every day doing jobs in America and doing a good job at it. Are you telling me that they do not have ID? They can't get ID? Anybody that can't get ID is just a victim of the oppression of the left, where the left is trying to oppress them and keep them in dense housing, keep them from having families, keep them from it's basically stealing their will to improve themselves by throwing so much government programs at them that they make it easier to sit home than it is to go out there and make something of yourself. They are anybody, okay, in that category. It has nothing to do with their skin color. It has to do with the left oppression of minorities who are stealing their will to improve themselves and stealing the opportunity for them to have fathers in the home by combating that, by making sure there is enough money and enough programs available to not have that. Okay? This is why they call us racists because they don't want our voices to be heard. This is why the left calls us racist. They don't want our voices to be heard because we're right about this, okay? And the real racists are the left. Because when you go out in America, you walk around, everywhere I go, everybody I see, no matter what color they are or who they are, you say hello to somebody, you walk by them, there's no problem. We don't hate each other. The only hatred is created by the Democrat Party, who keep throwing these wrenches in our society and telling people of color that they are victims, okay, when they are not victims. They are American citizens who are respected by all of us. The only people that think that minorities don't play on an even playing field as us are the Democrats, who keep saying it, who don't want to let minorities out of dense housing because they never give them the opportunity to get up and out, because they need those dense housing projects as their voting farms, to drop them in cities that don't have Democrat voting bases. And they drop these dense housing complexes in that have half the population of the town in there. And that's why they make the laws that certain cities have to have a certain percentage of affordable housing. But if we just treated all Americans the same, everybody would take the same opportunities, and there wouldn't even be a need for affordable housing. If the Democrats would let this country flourish and the jobs come back, there's no need for affordable housing, because then all of a sudden it becomes very lucrative to go to work when there's real living wage jobs out there, like President Trump is trying to bring back, when you could go to work in a shipyard or an electric plant or wherever else and make $40, $50 an hour as a warm body job, when the only warm body jobs available right now are McDonald's or Wendy's, which those jobs in a real free and open economy should just be for teenagers. But we have no choice as Americans to go out and try to make careers out of those jobs because we've been stripped of every industry by the left, because they're trying to make a global economy out of us. They're trying to make a global government out of the world and erase our borders. Like I said, imagine 4 to 8 more years of these Democrats letting the illegals in. It's the same bullshit by saying that minorities don't have access to paperwork. Okay, Black America woke up, and you could go look at the videos of Chicago and what they're telling their mayor right now on how the illegals have come. Okay, and then another thing is, why is it that every time the Democrats send out their Antifa, their blue-haired freaks, to go burn down neighborhoods and riot, why do they send them to minority neighborhoods? Why? If they care so much about minorities, why do you send them to minority neighborhoods to burn those neighborhoods down? Because it's easy for them there, because they have the political control in those neighborhoods, in those areas. And they tell the blue-haired freaks that they're not going to get prosecuted in those areas, and they can get away with leaving pallets of bricks on the streets, just randomly show up, and they can get away with it all. And then the mayors could tell the police, do not arrest in these areas. Take a good look at what's going on, because it's all propaganda, and we're going to expose their propaganda here. And we're all going to come together as Americans. I always tell you, a Democrat's worst nightmare is all of us getting along. That is their worst nightmare. They need us fighting. They need us fighting as races. They need us fighting as religions. And coincidentally, that's all they're pushing in the last 20 years or more. Guys, this has been about election integrity. We're going to clean it up. President Trump's going to clean it up. Tulsi's going to clean it up. You're going to see arrests. And pretty soon you're going to go to the voting box, okay? And you're going to be able to feel confident in your vote. And you're going to start seeing a lot of these Democrats start getting voted out of office. And you know why? Because we already took their funding away, their illegal funding. The USAID money that was being stolen from your tax money, sent out into the ether and returning to all these Democrat politicians' pockets and campaign funds. That's why they're freaking out. They're not going to have the money to lie to you when the midterms come up. They're not going to have the money to pay their rioters anymore. They got money for one last stand, and that's going to be this summer when they try to burn down this country. When the protests and riots start, they're already gearing them up. Okay? And they're not going to be able to hack the voting machines anymore in certain places. They're not going to be able to mail out their ballots and have China print them out for us anymore because they're going to have the watermarks. They're going to be counterfeit proof. And then we're going to go after the ballot harvesters, start putting them in jail with long sentences. And through this whole process, the Democrats are going to kick and scream and accuse because that's what they do. They're nothing but the Communist Party USA full of propaganda. That's all it is. And I feel bad for the Democrats that continue to vote for these people, the Democrats that believe in these Democrat politicians, okay? Because just look back at Nazi Germany. It took 15 years to get that propaganda out of the Nazi citizens' heads, what Hitler did to them. And the propaganda that's been done to low IQ American citizens is far worse because of the technology and skills we have today. This is going to be a nightmare. But you know what? We're going to just have to enforce the law, and too bad. Let them kick and scream. They want to go burn things down. They could go to jail. All right? But we're not taking it anymore. This country's coming back. We're going to be the superpower that we are. There's going to be jobs, and things are going to get better. We're going to go through the little bumpy period, which we are, because it's like taking us off the juice. We're addicted to government money. All the companies, the only companies that are left, all the people, everybody. So we've got to take us off that government money and get us on to good money, real money, a good economy, and it will come back and people will be happy. And you'll see this country turn around, and you'll see how safe this country is and how these major events, these horrible events, don't happen without the Democrats causing them to happen. All right, guys, election integrity. This has been MAGA Headline News. My name is Mike. And I will see you again, possibly today, but definitely tomorrow for another report. Okay, guys, have a good day.